Hi, everybody. Welcome to the fourth episode of Happiness, an Elliott Smith Webcast. I'm Jeff. I have an Instagram account called Elliott Smith Discography. Charlie, over there
Hi.
on my screen, is a longtime person behind sweetadeline.net, the great website that was very important and still is very important to Elliott Smith fans today. And we have Bill. Is it Santen? Is that how you say your last name?
Santen, yes.
Bill Santen as our guest today, which we're really excited about, to talk to Bill about all his experiences regarding things involving Elliott Smith and just the rest of his life and life in music and stuff too. So I'll do a quick intro and then we'll have Charlie ask a question. But Bill is, I guess you've put out some solo work under your name also, but you're pretty much known a lot for the band Birddog. And Elliott was a friend of yours, played on and produced some of your records, and we'll get to that stuff. But Charlie, do you have a question to kick it off, or should we just kind of go to like Bill's background as far as like growing up and like, you know?
Yeah. I always love talking about background, like where the roads lead to kind of thing.
The internet told me you grew up in Lexington.
I did. My family had a farm outside Lexington, and I grew up on a farm. And I guess as soon as I was 18, I moved to California. Where did Jeff go?
Trying to
get more lighting.
Oh, yeah. Nice. And I started playing music in Kentucky and playing guitar in Kentucky, writing songs. And yes.
Was there pretty early influence on you, like when it comes to your parents, maybe, like were they really into music and kind of they were listening to stuff and you were kind of picking up on that, or was there siblings maybe as well?
I think probably the biggest influence, my mom had a Donovan record, Catch the Wind, and I really loved that record from as long as I can remember, playing it over and over again. And then my dad was into like 80s country and kind of 70s and 80s AM gold type country music and cowboy music. And I was interested in, I guess I just, I sort of absorbed that, while I was listening to Pink Floyd and Led Zeppelin. And I guess my brother went to high school and discovered like Sebadoh, Dinosaur Jr., the Digits, and then my musical taste started to get a little bit confused when they started entering. He started bringing home all these 7-inches, and so that was inspiring.
Your brother's older than you?
Yeah, 2 years older.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So older siblings have a lot of influence sometimes in like introducing. My older brother had like no interest in music. I got nothing from my family.
Really?
Like I had to discover everything. Yeah, that's cool.
Yeah, and then he went to college and got a job at a record or at the radio station, and so then I was learning about all kinds of music through him, through mixtapes. Lots of Cintradoh, Sebadoh, all like the Dennis Kalachi tapes and
Shrimper records.
Yeah. Road Cone. But yeah, that was sort of, and I was playing in a few bands in high school, but it was I was never really able to figure out what I wanted to play or.
What did you start off on? Like, was it the guitar that you started?
The guitar, yeah.
Were a lot of kids at your high school like was country just a huge thing, or were there other kids even knowing what like Sebadoh or something was?
Sebadoh was really big. Nirvana was really big. All that. I'm sort of blanking. Well, Jane's Addiction was a
Oh, yeah.
big one.
You mind me
I
asking
guess,
what year you graduated high school?
well, I was supposed to graduate in 94,
Okay.
and I ended up figuring out that I had enough credits to leave a year early, and
Okay.
so I did.
That makes
So
sense with the music. I thought you were a little bit older than you are then. So I was like, wow, like Nirvana in high school. Like I thought you were,
Yeah.
I graduated in 90. So I was like, Nirvana was around, but they hadn't hit it big yet and stuff. So like I discovered Sebado probably around the same time as you, but I was like in college by then. So, okay, cool. Because like,
Cool.
How did you discover Nirvana?
you know what? I have a bad story about Nirvana. I think I vaguely kind of knew their name. I was like super into Mudhoney, and I knew Sub Pop, and but you know, pre-internet, like you couldn't just get exposed to everything as easily as now. So you kind of like, you know, learn things in bits and pieces. And I think I had a friend that told me about Nirvana, and I knew a little bit like when Bleach was out, but not that much. But I wanted to see Dinosaur Jr. I think it was like June of '91 at the Palladium, Hollywood Palladium. And I was like, oh yeah, that band I've heard of, like Nirvana, is opening too. And I was 19 or whatever. I didn't like to go to shows by myself. Now I love to go to shows by myself. I don't have to stand wherever I want, whatever. Don't have to worry about other people. But my friend, who later became a huge fan of both those bands, he was like, I always knew bands before him. He was like, I don't know who Dinosaur Jr. is. I don't want to go. And I didn't want to go by myself. And so like, I never saw Nirvana. And that was like 6 months, 5 months before Nevermind came out. And I had chances right when Nevermind came out. I remember they played some pretty small places still, but yeah, that was my like, just kind of like filtered in a little bit of Nirvana knowledge as they were getting bigger. But
I remember a friend of mine's band covered Smells Like Teen Spirit, which was the first time I'd ever heard the song. And I was just like, yes. I mean, I thought it was their song.
Yeah, you're like, you guys are famous.
Yeah, I was like, that was so good.
That's awesome. So how did you kind of transition into becoming? You said that you were in a couple bands in high school. Were you like doing a lot of songwriting at the time and basically kind of building your own music at the same time?
I was trying to, but I think I thought that I was going to move to Los Angeles and be a guitar player. And so I did write a lot of, I guess, sort of poems and things like that. But as far as my own music, I think right before I left, I'd written a couple songs, and I went to the studio in Lexington and recorded them. And so I had that when I moved out to California. And I was surprised that they sounded good. The guy, it was the guy who ran the studio was actually blind. His name was Harvey Cannon, and he did everything by touch, and it was tape. And but he got me to double everything, you know, the singing and the guitar, and he just cranked up the reverb, and I was just like, wow, this is pretty good. And so I got a little bit of confidence from that, I think. And yeah, so when I finally did decide to start trying to write songs and play shows and stuff, I felt like I could do it, you know. Right. And that 18-year-old confidence, you know.
Oh, that's awesome.
So
and
you moved to LA then.
So I moved to San Diego.
Okay.
I was very lucky. I had a Toyota Camry that my parents bought me that ended up running for years. So I just packed up my stuff in that and drove to San Diego. And I found a place to live, and I was 18 and found a job, and I started trying to look into the music scene and to figure out how to play music live, because I was writing a few songs by then. And I found out later, I guess Jewel was playing at Ocean Beach, but that was about it for singer-songwriter, or it was all this like electronic sort of like dance. I don't know what it was, but it wasn't a lot of DJs. So I stayed there for a while, and then I was thinking about up and moving somewhere else. And in a Rolling Stone magazine, there was a little indie spotlight on Pond, the band.
Mhm.
And they were like, Pond from Portland, Oregon. And Portland, Oregon is a cool place to be listening to music now. And so I just sort of decided to go to Portland.
Cool.
Yeah.
So had you created the name Birddog by then, when right before you went to Portland, or is that something that happened when you got there, kind of thing?
My brother came to visit me, and once I moved to Portland in '94, my brother came to visit me, and we were at like Molten Loma Falls goofing around, and he called me Birddog at some point because I think we may have been drinking some beer or something. And it just, I was like, that'd be a good name for a band, you know.
Yeah.
I'd grown up with a million bird dogs, and so there's sort of some history there, and I thought it sounded funny, and I was a little sensitive about not having other musicians to play with me, you know, just being a solo act. I thought it would get me booked with bands instead of like singer-songwriter nights, you know.
Right.
So
but did you have originally when you were starting to play in Portland, did you have other band members?
no, I just
Mostly
just me. I started playing with I guess the first person, the guy who put out a 7-inch for me, this guy Bruce Saltmarsh, would play the pickle bucket on a couple songs, just kind of as that's it. That was the record. That's the one. And he played drums on that record. But live, if he wasn't around, every once in a while, Megan Pickerel from Swoon 23, she would sing with me sometimes. And she was actually, the Tabasco Tim acoustic showcase. I just remembered a show where she played with me there, and
Yeah, you posted a flyer from one of those Tabasco shows.
Right.
Yeah, I remember Swoon 23. I might have like a CD by them. I don't remember listening to them a ton, but I remember that band name. I didn't even realize they were a Portland band. But Portland at that time, it's funny when you see any Portland person talk about Portland now compared to Portland then. Like, it was this sleepy town that nobody knew about, which, as an outsider who's been to Portland one time for a very, very, very brief time, like, I don't know, I feel like as a teenager I knew what Portland was, but I obviously wasn't like there to experience old time Portland. But as somebody from Southern California, man, like, to move to Portland, you moved there at a great time. That, like, I mean, so many of my favorite bands, Hazel, Spinanes, Team Dresch, all those, and all those bands, like, so many of them, that it was just a great time to be there.
That the Larry Crane film on the making of, you know, that just came out.
Oh, yes, where you're talking.
Yeah, it's called I guess the series is called On the Making of, and they're featuring Larry Crane. He to me, he does a great history of Portland music in the 90s, because I guess we must have gotten there kind of around the same time. And so very fertile time to be in Portland.
Yeah. So did you just start playing shows? And I mean, I know just from being in like the music scene here, like, you just meet one person, they introduce you to somebody else, you just got kind of like you know, more into just into the local scene, knowing all the different people, I guess?
I
Somewhat.
was thinking, I was going back through trying to figure out how I met Elliott, you know, and I realized that I played some coffee shops and did some sort of like cabaret nights at Satyricon and open mics and stuff. But South by Southwest did a North by Northwest in Portland in '95. And I can't remember if I played or if I just like went to panels and stuff. And I met JJ Gonson there. And I remember that, like, meeting JJ, that was kind of how I learned about where to play. And because before I met JJ, I was just playing at all these random places, and I didn't really know that many people. And she helped me to sort of focus my attention, you know, over the cool places. And so I was playing a weekly acoustic showcase at the Egyptian Room, and that was Wednesday nights, and Tuesday nights up the road at the Mount Tabor pub. I guess that's way up the road. They also had a weekly acoustic night, and so I did that for a while, and that it helped performing every week, those 2 weekly shows, and then if I would get other stuff throughout the week, random things.
How was it like? Oh, go ahead, Jeff.
Go ahead, Charlie.
No, I was just gonna ask, like, how was it like to be in the kind of in that environment? A lot of people do talk about how Elliott kind of would be in the Portland scene where everybody was kind of rocking out, and then it was, Elliott seems to be a focus when it comes to playing acoustic music in the scene.
Mm-hmm.
How did you feel being a part of kind of being outside of the whole electric side of things versus the acoustic side of things? Especially in that scene, because it seemed like they were rocking out, you know, big time.
Yeah. When I first started playing, I would ask the bands, like Pilot was a band that was playing a lot. And I would ask the bands to let me play during their set changes. And so I started getting to know people in bands, and I like the vibe a lot better at rock shows. And it seemed like it wouldn't be out of the ordinary for there to be a couple bands play, and then a solo person, and then another band play. They were mixing it up, and we were all just putting these snap-in pickups in our guitars, and so they could be just plugged directly into the PA. And it is, you know, I didn't like, there was something about, there was sort of a singer-songwriter scene that was much gentler and quieter. I'm trying to think of the place on there's a cafe on Hawthorne where lots of these kind of virtuoso folk musicians would play, and it's a little, you know, I was drawn
X-ray,
more.
maybe? Was it X-ray?
What's that?
Maybe X-ray.
No, it was. I can't remember the name. It was very small, but anyway, your question again.
Oh,
did I answer your question?
How did you fit in? How did it feel as more an acoustic guy with all the rocking bands? But I mean,
right.
I like shows that are like, I booked shows down here, like in Orange County, and it's like, sometimes you start thinking like, well, these bands, I want to have bands that sound alike, so it's kind of cohesive, but it shows work better when it's like kind of in the same genre, but like a mix of sounds. Yeah, like a sort of coffee house, let's have a bunch of serious folky people. It has its place and it's good, but it's like I don't know, like the show that you're describing that you liked sounds like the kind of show that I would like watch
Yeah.
some rocking band and then some guy who writes good songs that plays them a little more acoustic. And it's like, I've been to shows with like just crazy, like almost like a hardcore band and then like an acoustic person. And I don't know, it's fine. Like it doesn't have, everybody doesn't have to sound the same.
Yeah. Yeah. I never understood the guys who would book, 5 things that all sounded the same. And I think that bands liked it too. They wanted a solo act between the 2 bands to just sort of change everything up a little bit.
That's awesome. I never got to experience something like that. It usually, I mean, from where I live, we don't have like a whole lot of bands. So I had to go to San Francisco and they would have their lineup of bands, and it would just be kind of like touring bands, of course. So they had some similarities to each other in different ways. So yeah, that's pretty awesome though, because I also heard it was very competitive in Portland, but also on the other hand, it was very supportive of each other, especially if you found some people that you connected with,
Yeah. I guess I wasn't there long enough to see really it competitive at all, but I can see where it would have been.
Yeah.
But I was thinking after, I guess in 96, I booked a few shows that were just with Elliott and me and like Pete Krebs, Sean Krogan. There was a place called Stage 4. And so I guess we sort of got away from rock band, acoustic act now and then, to do the quiet nights.
It's good songwriting. It works. I don't know. I have Pete Krebs is a great songwriter. Everybody just mentioned are like great songwriters. So that kind of comes through whether it's whatever format they're playing it in.
And if you have someone, there was this person named Jennifer that booked the Stage 4. That was, I think it was kind of her project. I'm not sure how she was the booking person there, but she liked our music a lot, and so she would just keep booking us there, as a group. So
you were playing shows, like you moved there in '94. You're pretty like into playing some pretty cool shows, I guess, after you met JJ, you said, because those flyers you posted with like you on the same bill with Elliott was just like 95. Yeah. So I mean, at the time, if I want to like jump into more specific Elliott questions, when you played with him in 95, was it like, I mean, he was already getting some notoriety. His like second album was coming out, so he wasn't like super early in his solo career, but did you sense any like, oh, this guy's gonna like go pretty far compared to a lot of people around here? Or was it's just another dude we hang out with, just another guy playing shows?
I think that I hung out with JJ, and I dated a friend of hers that they worked together at Undercover Records, and I'd been around them and been around JJ, and she was managing, or just at the very end of her time managing, Heat Miser, and there was a lot going on, so I was overhearing a lot of things, and so I guess I did hear about when I saw him play for the first time. I knew that his band was getting signed to a big label, and he was a great songwriter. But yeah, I guess I heard a lot through JJ.
Yeah.
Mainly, I think they dated, and I also went on a Heat, before the end of Heat Miser. They did I don't know how many, but they did some sort of team building field trips, and one of them was going to a raceway and racing these cars around, and so I got to go with and I didn't meet Elliott there, but I remember meeting like Tony and Neil, and then we each had these little race cars, and we just like, it was really weird. Yeah, I guess it was just, they were really trying to keep the band together, and the band was going to break up, and so the manager is trying to make everybody, happy. But yeah, so that was a fun story. But I played with him. He sort of, two worlds kind of collided when he played at the Tabasco Tim acoustic showcase, because I had been playing there every week, and the guy that ran it, Tim Dawson, booked Elliott to play. And I guess maybe I officially met him that night, but it was a big deal that Elliott was going to play. And I remember there was a lot of people that came, and yeah.
And what kind of like drew you to him that you thought maybe that kind of started building a relationship that kind of led to some cool collaborative stuff?
Well, I was asking everyone if I could open for them, approaching bands, and I was 19. I had a big ID, and I wrote Elliott a letter and asked him, it's like, hey, if you ever need anyone to open some shows, let me know. And I'm trying to figure out when it was. Sometime in the fall of '95, he called me, and he was just like, it's kind of short notice, but I was wondering if you could come up and open for me and Mary Lee Lord at Rock Candy up in Seattle. And he's like, I can only pay you $100, but it would be really great. And can you drive? And I was just like, wow. That was cool. It was pretty amazing. I think he knew I would be pretty excited about that. But awesome. Yeah, so it went. Oh, it went. I think I don't remember what I played, but it was the first time I'd seen Mary Lee Lord play, and met her, and maybe it was the first like full set I'd seen of Elliott's, and Slim Moon came to that show, and after he took us to a casino, and I remember Elliott was telling me, he's just like, look, if you've never been to a casino before, you gotta play, because you're the one that's gonna win, and so he told me, I didn't know what roulette was, so he was a big roulette fan, and played roulette, won $30, and so then we spent the night up there, and so that kind of started these just sort of random jaunts, to Olympia or Seattle, or around.
Cool.
We got along pretty well.
Awesome. And did that lead to meeting like Pete Krebs and Sean Crogan, or had you known them before then?
I met Sean at I think at Elliott's house, because they were roommates, and they were roommates, and Pete Krebs, I'm trying to think, I think that I had seen him at like Belmar, where he would play, and he played in a country band that I loved, and so I knew him. I didn't know that they knew each other. So
cool.
Well, what was Pete's country band? I don't know the country band, I don't think.
A Golden Delicious.
Oh, okay, yeah. I didn't realize it was that early, the Golden Delicious. Yeah, I have some Golden Delicious CDs, but I didn't
Yeah.
know about his earlier band, Thrill Hammer. I just bought like their records online. That was like his earlier band before Hazel or something that I didn't even know. I'm like a Pete Krebs, like sort of completist,
Really?
not completely, but yeah, like
Huh.
a big
Uh,
fan. So yeah, Golden Delicious. Okay. Yeah, I saw Hazel. I was
and
lucky. Hazel, I don't know, out of Portland, I don't know if they drew very big crowds. They didn't here in LA and Orange County. It didn't seem like it was just, I don't know how they flew under the radar so much, being so good and being on Sub Pop. But they were, I saw them at like some tiny shows down here, but I was
yeah.
feel lucky that I saw them play like 4 times. They're so great.
When did they break up?
When did they break up? I mean, they put out their second album came out in 95, I think, and then they put out that EP, that Ariana EP, which was like
Huh.
96, 97. I mean, I don't think they were really around beyond maybe like 97 or something like that. I mean, they played a few reunion shows over the years, I think, but yeah, like
Huh.
97-ish maybe.
'Cause I never saw them. I don't think they were ever playing when I was in Portland.
Oh,
But yeah.
yeah, they were great.
So I wanted to ask about, so that kind of probably led to as you got to meet Elliott and get to know him, that somehow, and I was just curious how it all came together, because it's the first time I kind of, from the top of my head, I don't really remember him having any production credit as a producer. I was just wondering if you could talk about a little bit about how the Killer 7-inch came about. I know JJ released it under
Mhm.
Undercover
Yeah.
Records, and I
Yes.
was just wondering if you could give us a little insight about that whole process.
Sure. He we had played a few shows. I guess we'd gone and we did a long weekend with Pete Krebs in like the Firehouse and at the Sit and Spin, and I have it written down. We had done several of these sort of long weekend where he'd heard my songs really, and he liked the song Killer, and mentioned it a few times that he'd like to record it. And so I started bugging him about it, and I kept bugging him about it, and then I'd talk to JJ sometimes, and she was like, you should really bug him about it, and I did, and he finally he was just like, yeah, come over to this house, and I'd recorded at Mike Lostra's place, Smegma, which like Hazel recorded there and stuff. And so I'd been in sort of a recording studio before, but it was a pretty great experience going into his house and sitting down on his couch and sort of watching it come together, because I didn't really know what he meant. He wanted to record this song, like how, on what, I didn't really, I guess I had to buy Ampex tape. He had a 8-track that he rolled out and sat by the couch. Yeah, I just, he sort of put it all together and kind of taught me at the same time how you can record a song in a messy living room with equipment that's, is not, you don't have to be in a big fancy studio, and
Yeah.
but I remember he did have a big fancy microphone that it was pretty funny because the drums were just sort of stacked in the corner, and it was kind of, everything was sort of cobbled together. But then he pulls out the case for this microphone. It's obviously a very nice microphone. And I remember we both had a real good laugh at the ridiculousness of this case, and it's like, oh, microphone, it's really expensive, and we're gonna use it. And on sitting on his couch, him shoving this big, I remember it was like a I don't know what it was. I'd love to know what kind of microphone it was. But and then, so I think he just had me, go ahead.
Oh, I was gonna say, I think I know what it might be, but yeah, I don't know the name of it exactly off the top of my head either. But I could share that with you and see. I'll PM you and see if it's the same.
Right. He so he just had me, as far as producing, just play and sing the song all day long. And then he had me, doubling the vocals, and then I had another song that I wanted to play, and he would, I think he would help out a little bit on it, but then sometimes he would disappear upstairs because he was playing this video game. And I don't know, maybe, I don't know what he was so obsessed with, but I would there were times where I would be trying to finish a recording and I'd have to go get him because he was obsessed with this video game.
I like the stories about video games and roulette and race car driving. That's like the stuff you don't hear.
Awesome. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah,
Don't hear these.
Producing, I mean, his voice is in my head. Like now, I just sort of recently returned to recording songs and writing songs right from the ground, and thinking about recording the way that he showed me how, just in its simplest form, has been so helpful and saved me so much money, and just like keep reminding myself that if you just write the song, just work on the song. That's the only thing that matters, is a song being good. If it's good, you can record it, and anyone can record it, but on any kind of equipment,
Did he help with like advice with like arrangements or anything like that? Or he
No.
was just fairly supportive of what you were doing and just.
Yeah, I don't remember him talking about the actual songs at all. He would just say when he liked one. I mean, his advice was always do what you want to do,
Right.
And after he recorded the song for me, he sent Margaret Middleman, his manager, a cassette of everything he'd been working on and the production stuff. And I mean, that for me was pretty incredible.
That's cool.
Like I got a publishing deal through that and met lots of other people, and yeah,
That's awesome.
but
He also played drums and bass on the Killer, right?
Mm-hmm.
He also played drums and bass.
He did.
Did you were you there when did he just like add those later? Were you there like while he was doing that and have a say in what he played, or just let him do his thing, or how'd that work?
No, I just let it. I was just watching him work. He was such a good musician. Just I had no idea what a bass part should sound like on a song or anything like that. And so I was there while he put the bass down, and he put this drum set together and put the drums down. And then I guess for a different day, he wanted to put a cello on the song. And we called up Charlie Campbell, who was in Pond. And
that's awesome,
which was pretty cool. And so Charlie Campbell comes over and plays the cello. And I think Elliott had an idea of exactly what he wanted.
That's awesome.
And the next time when I went back after he had opened Jackpot, I recorded a song where he put a piano part on it. And I had a little bit more of an idea of what I wanted and how to record at that point, like 2 years later. But watching him on the piano was amazing. He could play this honky tonk piano, and he's very good.
Well, that
And
the Killer 7-inch was really awesome altogether. I mean, the packaging is beautiful, and the songs are awesome. Everything about it was really awesome. And
JJ's friend Sluggo Cawley.
yes,
Do you know Sluggo?
yes.
I've never met
spoken
him.
to him.
Yeah,
I never
he
personally
did the
met
design.
him, emails.
Yeah, that was a total gift to see that. I had nothing to do with any of the design or anything. That was pretty amazing.
Yeah, beautiful release.
Yeah, thank you.
Let's see, going back to my notes. I don't know if you have a question, Jeff. Looking.
Well, I mean, after the single that you had, I mean, I don't know if you want to jump that far ahead. You know, my notes as far as what I'm reading said that you ended up. I mean, that's the only thing that came out on Undercover, and then you went to a record label called Sugar Free Records when you were going to put out an album.
Yes, I let's see. From there, they had a Graham Parsons festival in Joshua Tree in '95, and I played there and ended up meeting a drummer and a bass player who played with my friend Paul Kay and the Weathermen. They were the Weathermen, and they had heard the 7-inch, I think, and so then they ended up becoming my band, and that was Glenn, who plays with Wilco now, and Steve is in Altered Statesman in Nashville, and so Paul Kay helped put some of the songs together, and then we took the songs that I recorded with Elliott and kind of put out there it is.
There's my contribution to the visuals. One
Nice.
of them so far.
Nice.
Oh, and even cool. This the back picture of you. It also has a connection to Elliott history too.
Yes.
Oh, go ahead. I'm sorry.
No. Yeah.
Oh, okay. The Joanna Balmy took that photo of you guys, and of course later you guys worked together at Jackpot as well. So I thought it was a cool connection after as I was researching.
Yeah, and I didn't know that for a long time. I didn't realize that she took that picture, because I think that Sugar Free Records took that picture and took her, I think, I don't know, her name got cut off of it somehow, the credit. And so, but it was cool to discover that.
So Dave, your brother, mentioned something in the chat, which
what did Dave say?
He said ask about the tour right after the Oscars. Yes, which is my first time seeing you perform live. I saw you in San Francisco on May 18th, 1998.
Really?
You were the opener for, it was at the Bottom of the Hill. You were the opener and with Quasi and of course Elliott. But that was a huge tour because it was coming off Elliott's nomination and appearance on the Oscars. Tell us about that, because that was, I would assume, a huge opportunity to be on a tour right after that event. And also Elliott had probably finished EXO by that point too. And can you tell us about that experience?
It was incredible, because they they asked me to open some shows before that. I guess it was in, what do you know what month the Oscars were?
It was March
Let me see.
23rd.
Huh.
Sweet Adeline's telling me March 23rd.
Ah.
I'm on the
Be
show.
we-
right. Oh, geez.
We toured from like Boise at the Norlux. I met him, and I'm sorry, I'm not sure about the timeline, but it was just me and Elliott and Dan Mapp. Have you heard of Dan Mapp?
No.
Someone needs to
Don't
make a
think so.
movie about Dan Mapp. He's this like, he was the tour manager, and he had just managed Green Day, and I think he manages Sleater Kinney now, maybe. But anyway, it was Dan Mapp drove. It was like a Ford Taurus with Elliott and me, and we played a bunch of shows across starting in Boise and going through like Wisconsin and stuff.
I'm seeing some of that in July of '97 on Sweet Adeline, Boise, and then the 400 bar in Minneapolis, and then
Yeah.
Iowa City, Chicago, Kalamazoo. That's it.
I'm
Maybe.
not positive.
I don't know.
The
There's a
thing is-
Boise show in '97.
Yeah, he was playing those clubs so often. It's crazy
Yeah,
trying to get my
Yeah, you played
story
the same
straight.
places multiple years.
But anyway, so back to my brother's question, Dave, about the second tour. So that tour, nobody was there. There were lots of devoted fans, and but just the contrast, and I mean, it was pretty amazing. They asked me to open all those shows. I think I opened the top half, and then Pete Kreb opened the bottom half, going around the USA. And then after the Oscars, playing opening with Quasi, with every show sold out, and I made the mistake of wearing a zip up hooded sweatshirt one day, and I walked up to the club after dinner, after sound check, to go get ready to play, and all these fans like come, you know, thinking I'm Elliott Smith. There was some mayhem. People were getting really excited, and I had a friend who had actually put on a hoodie and go kind of tease the audience. But anyway, with that tour, it was night and day different. The first tour was, in a way, it was just me and him, and lots more relaxed, and we didn't have to worry. I don't know. First one was probably better.
Did you get to try, I guess the first part was the tourist tour, I guess, with you guys by yourselves, and then did you guys get to stick together on the second that after Oscar tour kind of thing? Did you get to see much of each other on that tour?
I mean, not as much. And then when he was playing with Quasi, not really quite as much. But I do remember I was, as far as XO, in his dressing room before our show, and I don't know why I was in there, but there was a copy of XO that I hadn't seen. I didn't know that the record had come out, and so I grabbed it. Right. Okay. The next day I started hearing murmurings that like there had been the artwork test proof CD was missing and had been taken from. I was just like, oh shit. It was in my possession, and I was like, I'd been invited on this tour, and bad faux pas.
You just like slide it back in there, like secretly replace it.
No, I like went like knocked. Yeah, I wish I still had it. No, I told him, and yeah, but I think that the tour manager was the only one that was really falling apart about it. But I just remember opening it and it being a paper. It's like, there's no disc in here. It's like a piece of paper. But yeah.
So do you remember the last stop on that tour, and how you felt after that whole experience?
I remember, I don't know if the last show was at La Luna in Portland, but I remember that was the first time I saw a tour bus. And we all like went on, he took us on his tour bus and showed us around. And things were getting weird.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Yeah, it says La
Things were
Luna.
changing.
When you went to the Bottom of the Hill show, Charlie, La Luna was 2 nights before that, and then after Bottom of the Hill, there were 2 nights at the Troubadour in LA, which I was probably sorry.
Okay.
But it was getting different with like big managers and big tours and things.
Yeah. Well, he was getting a lot busier because in the afternoons, he, instead of just like walking around a town and checking out the town or going to a museum or something, he would be like doing interviews, and he would have to go somewhere, and lots of interviews. But he was just busier, and I think at some point my band was with me. I can't remember what shows at what point they came and joined me, and then so we hung out a lot less when my band was there, because everybody was all over the place
doing their own thing, kind of. Were you settling back to after that tour, were you kind of settling back in Portland? And
I moved, I met Glenn and Steve at the Graham Fest, and they played on that first record. And then I kind of moved back to Lexington, but I was going to Chicago and staying in Chicago a lot. Moved out of Portland completely. And so I guess I was mainly out of Lexington. Yeah.
So it was
From
just
Chicago.
but that when you moved out of Portland was just to focus on being kind of like a band together. They were mostly over on the East Coast.
Yeah. I was, by the end of my time in Portland, I sort of running with the wrong crowd. I needed to get out of town. And so it was an opportunity to get out of Portland, move back for a while, and
Oh, cool.
So
Ghost of, oh, go ahead, I'm sorry.
Oh, I just hearing from Larry, I wish I'd stayed a lot longer in Portland, but it was probably good I left when I did. So
right.
Yeah.
And then you, after the Track House album, or this one, you came out with Ghost of Season.
Ghost of Season.
Yeah. And that was done in Portland too, or
that was at Truck Stop in Chicago.
Okay, so that's when you had moved already.
Yes. Yeah. And Glenn knew those guys, Mike Krasner and Joe, I can't remember his name, who set that up with Sugar Free, and we kind of went in and recorded it as a band more. It wasn't just me playing my songs and then filling in their parts. Actually, they were helping me write some of the songs, and
cool.
Yeah,
that's awesome. And then and then a Sweet and Bitter Fancy.
Yes.
You know?
Mike Turner and it was in Panama City, Florida. He put that out, and
Cool.
the song Third and South. Go ahead.
Oh no, I was just gonna say that you had you had a couple people that were awesome on this album too, with Edith Frost, and then Elliott appeared again on it, on one of your records, and Dave was even thanked on it. I was going to kind of ask, so you kind of reconnected to Elliott around 2001 or 2000?
I think I recorded at Jackpot that was in 98. So maybe I'd been sitting on that one a while.
Oh, okay. Cool.
So I don't know if I talked to him after we recorded that song.
Oh,
I don't think so. Yeah.
And it's also cool is connected, another connection, Larry Crane and Joanna.
Yeah.
Mixed and engineered that song as well. So
yeah.
That was recorded at Jackpot. So.
Yeah.
Cool.
It was like a brand new space. It was pretty amazing.
Did you work numerous songs, or Third and South was the only song?
I think we recorded 4, and Third and South was the best one.
Yeah.
I didn't, I was asking him to, he was doing me a huge favor. So I didn't want to sneak in a bunch more songs. So we recorded, he came and helped like one or 2 days and doing Third and South. And then we kind of did the other songs real quick after he was gone.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
And then at least in 2003, songs from Willapa Bay. Am I saying that right?
Willapa Bay. Uh-huh.
I was curious about that one because that was on Happy Birthday to Me Records, right?
Yeah.
Because that's like I was curious about how that happened. There's like super like a lot of indie pop kind of bands on that have a different sound than you, which again is cool. It's like, who wants to listen to the exact same type of music every second? But it's I was surprised when I saw that it was on that label.
Sugar, he was interested and contacted me, and he definitely, there weren't many groups like us on his label, which was a good thing and a bad thing. So
I think they organize like the Athens Pot Fest and stuff like that. It's like I have friends that are like put out records on that label now. I have a bunch of stuff. Yeah, I like a lot of like super indie pop, kind of that kind of music and stuff. Yeah. He's like this LA.
Sorry, what band?
This
LA band called Rat Fancy that I'm friends with. Like their albums have come out on that label and stuff like that. So it's a great label.
We've been talking. He has a Bandcamp site where you can buy my older records on the 2 that he put out and the 2 that Sugar Free put out. And sometimes we talk about vinyl re-releases, and I don't know, maybe one day he will.
Yeah, sounds great that he's so supportive.
Yeah, he's pretty amazing. Yeah,
it is awesome to see a lot of your work on Bandcamp too. So it's cool that it's easy to look for now.
Right. And you were going to mention the compilation. I just want to make sure.
Yeah.
Is I don't know if Evan wants to even jump on here at all, if he's still on here. If you want.
Yeah, where's Evan?
Evan, do you want to say hi? You can unmute yourself and say hi. So I'll just start talking about it, or maybe Bill's probably more good at knows more about it. There's Evan.
He's probably cleaning the house or something.
I don't know if you guys can hear me or not.
We can hear you.
I hear you.
So you want to talk about
guys.
the compilation you put together, Evan?
Yeah, we're about to run and have lunch in a few minutes, but I got a second. We put it together in response to a hate crimes going on API recently, and label a couple. And out here in LA, and one of the that we decided was put together a try to raise for a couple of charities. I contacted Bill. He seems stoked to song, and we really have him amidst 59 other artists that contributed to song compilation. So like 2 weeks, I think now.
You're cutting out a bunch, Evan. So can you hear me, Evan?
Oh, my internet.
You're cutting out. It says Evan.
My internet can.
It says your bandwidth is low on my screen. So
Low bandwidth.
yeah, I don't know. It's basically, I'm going to read from it's on, if you go to paulisdeadrecords.bandcamp.com, Evan put together this, I mean, I got to listen to more of it. There's 60 songs.
Really good.
Yeah, some of them are friends of mine from like the LA and Orange County scene. There's a bunch of people I know on here, and it's called Subversive to Care, Friends and Family AAPI Charity Benefit Compilation from Paul is Dead Records. It's gonna go, the money all goes to I don't even know where, to some sort of organizations having to do with like violence toward, you know, Asian American Pacific Islanders and stuff like that. So anyways, paulisdeadrecords.bandcamp.com, and your song on there, Bill, is Pleasantville. So do you want to like talk about that? It's your latest recording, I guess, right?
Yes, the first recording in a while. I recorded it at home. It's a home recording, and I met back up with Larry Crane, who has been mixing things for me throughout the pandemic. And it just occurred to me that he played bass, and so I wish I'd asked him long before to please help me with the bass lines on my songs. And so for that one, he added the bass, and I think the bass really pulls it all together. But I've been sending him songs like, well, we moved to Buffalo, and I was an adjunct teacher, adjuncted video and photography. And then there was a pandemic. Maybe you heard about it. and everything closed. And then I didn't have to go to work for a while. And so I've been working on songs. And, yeah. So Pleasantville was the first song to kind of come out of, I spent a lot of years not recording music, and just trying to figure it out now again.
So is this, you had a solo album in 2004, is that correct?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So is this the first recording really that's come out since then?
First one.
Wow, 17.
Oh.
I actually, there was a festival, an outdoor art festival in Buffalo in September 2020. And I'd been doing some sound art, I guess in between the last record and this song. I went to college and then graduate school for art and video and sound and things like that. And so I started writing again. My friend Paul Kopaz passed away in March, not from COVID, but from other things. And he produced a record for me and was an inspiration. And anyway, so I wrote this song about Paul, and then for this outdoor art festival, I made a multi-channel installation outside, and I got a grant to buy some speakers and amps, and it turned out really great. It was like all these different like verses of the song playing at the same time in different parts of this park, and it could be loud, and so that was really fun, and kind of got me back into writing, I guess. And so but that wasn't an official like release. The Paul is I ironically named Paul is Dead records, because Paul is dead actually. But
I'm assuming that the record label Paul is Dead has to do with McCartney or something. I don't know. Well, he's not dead either, but like that was the thing, right? Like from, anyways, I'm not gonna go there.
I think, yeah. But
yeah, a Beatle reference. Evan just confirmed it's a Beatle reference. That was my assumption. So, but in the
Nice.
chat, someone's saying there's a handful of Bill songs associated with videos and sculptures too over the last 10 years.
Yes, yeah. I went to grad school and college for art, and so I put out some like music videos, 16mm film, musical things, and explored the visual art world a little bit down in New York City.
Can those be seen by people
yes,
now?
I actually have a website.
Ah.
It's my name, billsanten.com. And there's lots of the films that I've been making, experimental documentaries and things. And then if billsanten.com/birddog is more of the audio artworks. Yeah.
Awesome. And so songwriting wise, are you kind of getting back into the flow, and you maybe revving up to release a record or release some I don't know if I can mention what we kind of talked between us, but is it okay?
Yeah.
To,
yeah.
You were mentioning that possibly doing a split release. I was wondering if you wanted to talk to me or talk to us about what maybe direction you might be going with music.
I've gotten really into songwriting and really started enjoying like kind of minimal recording, but trying to write songs because it's so hard to do. And I have to write, by the time I write a song that I think it works, it's pretty exciting. It's like the best feeling ever. And I have maybe half of an album finished now. The songs that I've finished, I've been putting them on a SoundCloud page.
Oh, cool.
And so the recordings are kind of rough, but there's something about the songs that I think are working pretty well. So
awesome.
Great.
Yeah.
You're still teaching, correct?
I'm not at the moment.
Okay.
It went online, and I'm not sure if I'm going to, Charlie, I don't exactly know what I'm going to do. So I might, I worked in MoMA for a long time in New York, and there's an art museum here as well. So I might work there some.
How was life in Buffalo just in general? It's pretty different than Lexington, I assume.
It's really nice. I really like it because it feels like a big city in certain places, and it was all so much is designed by Olmsted, and the parks are beautiful, and there's not very many people here, and there doesn't seem to be that much going on, but it's good. But everything has been closed down for a year. But I like, it's a cheap place to live. And once the bridges open back up, it's 2 hours from Toronto.
Mm.
Oh, wow.
So.
And do you think you'll go into the studio, or you think you'll do home recordings?
Well, I've been down. The home recordings are just because I don't have a studio to go to right now. I'm hoping that Evan and I can send some tracks back and forth. And it sounds like he has a very nice studio in California. But yeah, the first opportunity I have to record some things in anywhere that isn't my attic will be nice.
You think you might want to return to Jackpot and work with Larry?
No, definitely. Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, and he's mixing some of those songs that you've done already.
Yep, he I felt like I spent about a year of sending him. It took a while to get the songwriting going again. I sent him a lot of bad songs, but I learned a lot about mixing in the process of sending them back and forth to him. And but yes, I will definitely need his help on the new songs.
That's awesome. And do you maintain a lot of connections still to people that you kind of met through JJ, like Sean and obviously Larry? And
with the pandemic, I decided to make a social media site for Birddog, and just through that, I was pretty resistant for a long time, and through engaging with Instagram, like I remember the message I got from you that said welcome, and that's sort of happy that like I had never thought about social media as like, oh wait, there are people here, there's a world in here, people are doing things that I don't know anything about. And I've always been very, very resistant to it, but I've since like February, I've been reconnecting with lots of people. But it's only been since February because the last record came out, and then I went to college, and then I went to New York and to graduate school, and I hadn't talked to people for a very long time. So I guess.
And go ahead. I'm sorry.
No, I guess I'm saying that I like Instagram, but I don't like Instagram at all. But I'm happy to reconnect with people.
That's cool.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, no. First, I was happy to see that you were on there, and then to see all, I learned even more about you through just the stuff you have posted so far, and then to see, a lot of cool ephemera, and like how you're putting the posters up, and revisiting some of your releases, and talking about the new stuff that's coming up. It's really cool to be able to reconnect and see you there, basically. So happy that you're there.
Yeah, I've moved so many times, but I've packed around, I have boxes of music stuff and flyers and stuff, and it's I didn't realize that people, I had stuff that people would like to see. So yeah.
People, that's like my favorite stuff to see on Instagram. There's a couple accounts. Yeah. One guy like posts just like pages from that Seattle weekly called The Rocket, like from the 90s, like ads from shows, and you see, all these 90s Elliott or other, Portland bands or whatever, like there's in articles from that. There's another one that's like indie archivist or something. I mean, I have another account where I do that stuff. I kept all my like Kill Rock Stars, K Records, Sub Pop catalogs from the early mid 90s and stuff. I mean, Chainsaw
Where do you keep
Records,
that stuff?
boxes
Where?
and bags. Oh yeah, there's I get in trouble a little bit with how much stuff. My kids share a room. My kids share a bedroom because of my stuff has its own bedroom. So, yeah, it's getting a little out of hand.
But he has some great stuff though.
I just posted.
Really cool.
I just posted. Bill, do you know Donna Drash, Team Drash, right?
Yeah.
I don't know if you know her personally, but I just posted like a video on YouTube of all my Chainsaw records and Candy Ass records. Candy Ass was Jody Blyle's label, and Donna Dresch was like, I tagged them on it. She was like, oh my god, this is incredible, I don't even have this stuff. She was like, next time we play in LA, like you got to have like a display like at our show, like next to the merch booth with all your memorabilia and stuff. I'm like, wow, okay, like that sounds like an honor to me. Like she's like, we'll make sure you get paid. I'm like, you don't need to give me any money for just showing stuff, like, yeah,
that's awesome.
People love to see that stuff because so many people just throw that stuff away and don't keep it. So it's seeing those flyers, like when you post stuff like that, that's great.
I mean, it's art. It's beautiful, like I don't know who made a lot of the flyers that you posted or the posters, but off the top of my head at least, but yeah, I mean, to see that kind of art, especially concert posters and flyers, is really cool.
Everything's digital now, so people don't. When I organize a show here that I book bands to play, I make a flyer, but it just goes on like Instagram or Facebook or whatever, and it's not printed out and stuck up at the club or something like that.
A question for you guys: how do you find music, and like how do you buy music, or do you?
I do. I mean,
how do you discover music? That's my question.
I think social media has a lot to do with it these days. Seeing what other people maybe post on Instagram or
through friends, basically, asking them.
I still go to a lot of shows, so it's like bands that you see and they mention another band or they play with another band, and like one of my favorite bands recently is a band, they're from New Zealand called the Beths, but I know them, they're getting pretty big, I think. But this LA band that I love, that I've seen at like small places, called Girl Friday, like they went on a tour with that. Like I love this LA band that's getting a little bigger too now, but they opened for this other band. It's just, I don't know. To me, it's still going to shows, although not in the last year and a half, but has a lot to do with it. You just, I talk to people at shows or see a band play with another band. So that. And
also, like for example, the artist, just like Mary Lou Lord, especially on Facebook.
She does.
She advertises some great bands or tells us about them, and it's like, where does she find these bands? They're so amazing. So like someone like that, someone who's normally kind of, it always seems like there's branches branching out to each other. So like, if you made a suggestion to me, I probably would check it out, and again, like Mary Lou Lord is a good example. And then it just branches out, and then of course just friends like Jeff, and I have a friend Kevin, who's really into the New York scene and music in general, and man, he provides a lot to me. A lot of good stuff.
Is there anybody now that you're really into, like say singer-songwriter?
On that vein, the singer-songwriter vein. See, I don't know if this even I would assume Father John Misty to me has been somebody I like. I don't know if that would be considered that, but I think so, since he's doing it himself. Oh my gosh, put me in the spotlight.
Mhm.
Evan said
uh,
Chris Cohen, who I've heard of Chris Cohen. I
Chris
like
Cohen.
I mean I like a lot of bands right now, I guess, like that band The Beths and Girl Friday, and I mean there's an LA artist, Rosie Tucker. I don't know if I mean she's got a full band with her. I don't know if that's like singer-songwritery, but
Rosie, I guess like
Tucker,
song based.
like
Song
Rosie
based
Tucker, I
music.
would recommend Rosie
Rosie Tucker,
Tucker.
That's
I mean, I think everybody I like, even if it's sort of a loud band, is very song based. Like I like, you know, this band from New Zealand, the Beths. I would check out the Beths. I mean, it's very like pop, but
Mhm.
yeah, I have friends that'll recommend to me like, oh, this band, they're playing at this place, and it's like you're gonna be blown away. And it's like they got, to me, sometimes it's like their sound is supposed to be something cool, but there's like no song. I'm like, okay, they're doing something
Mm.
interesting with these instruments. I'm super into like just good songwriting, whether it's still could be, you know, Hazel with like rocked out, but great songs, and you know, acousticy people write great songs. So yeah.
Right.
I have a couple more too for myself.
Yeah.
Aldous Harding from Australia,
Oh yeah.
and
August, who did you say?
Aldous, Aldous, and
ALDS.
John Grant is
Huh.
another person. He's really cool too. I like him.
I like Girl Friday from LA. Girl Friday, they have one album and one EP. They're really good. They're out. There's probably more than one Girl Friday, but if you look up their EP, 4 songs, Fashion Con Man, it's like so good.
Do you also look at stuff on Bandcamp? I know, Charlie, you said that you do.
Yes, I do. Yeah, and then I connect with my friends, and then
Yeah.
it shows like what they recently bought, and so that helps kind of, because since I think they're
Oh,
good
so you look and see
judges.
what they bought.
Yeah,
Sure.
I get an email once in a while that will say my friend Kevin bought 20 albums, where
Oh
I
my
don't know
God.
where he's gonna find time to listen to.
Oh, I can't
But
listen to everything I buy.
yeah, but
I listen to Bandcamp. I don't use those features like that, like see what other people are doing or whatever.
but he's a good judge of music, so I rely on his 20 purchases,
Right.
and hopefully find one that I can at least start off with. But yeah, I have a couple of friends I follow that gives me a report of what they're buying.
Yeah. I mean, and then do you buy like the digital album, or do you like buy a record or a CD?
Depends on probably cost now, but most of the
record
time I
seems to
do.
be expensive.
Yeah, they're getting more expensive. I went to
Yeah.
a record store day the other day, and I was just like, just the normal records, not even the record store day ones, went up, and I was like, oh man.
It really
So,
depends.
but
If it's it's like major label, bigger band, they're really expensive. A lot of like smaller indie bands will still sell their vinyl for like $15 or some $12, 15, but yeah, some of them are ridiculous, like $30 or whatever. Sorry, Charlie.
But
Yeah.
I was gonna say that I am adjusting the way I'm buying things. Like, say for example, if I'm gonna buy a Birddog record, knowing that you're gonna get a larger percentage of the deal, I'm gonna buy it from you directly, and I will check to see if I can buy it on Bandcamp before buying it elsewhere, because I want
That's
to
cool.
make sure that you get the money, as much money as you can get. Of course, I wait for that Bandcamp Friday too sometimes,
Right.
if I can wait for something.
That's a big help. That's great.
Yeah, that's awesome. So, I definitely, buy everything that I listen to. So, I mean, some friends will send me stuff, but I try to turn that around and actually purchase. Like my friend Kevin sent me the digital files for this comp, and then I ended up buying the record just because, I wanted to support the label and the bands on it, and if it helps them, and hopefully have another comp like that come out.
Right.
So
Right.
yeah. I think Bandcamp has been an awesome source of supporting the artists. Actually, I'm very impressed, and And I probably there's a couple of records of yours that I will probably buy for physically, actually, soon. So,
Um,
that I don't have right now.
you don't buy 'em right now?
Yeah, I'm gonna buy a couple of yours.
Yeah, he's sold some. Mike at Happy Birthday, who manages that, and if you were to buy one, he would send it to you and give me half the money. And but he has sold. People are buying CDs, which is cool.
That's cool.
And 7 inches. He still has
Yeah.
some of the killer 7 inches.
Wow.
But I guess there's been a backup at pressing plants lately.
Oh yeah. Mm-hmm.
And so that's even pushing some people to release CDs now, to kind of go back to CDs.
Wow, I didn't realize that.
I don't know if that's the truth or not, but
I think a lot of bands release CDs when they're small and they can't afford the vinyl. But that's why like CDs kind of became uncool with the young crowd, I think. And I mean, a lot of the bands I hang out with that are like half my age, they just put everything on cassette. It's like cassettes became cool.
Yeah, but I never understand that because they just break so easily.
I think, I don't know. My feeling is that I mean, somebody told me, oh, everybody my age, we have used cars that are 15 years old and they have cassette players in them. And that's why. But I think it's like CDs just became out, like they're just not cool. So if you can't afford vinyl, like cassettes just became like the hip thing. I don't know. I buy cassettes from bands that I'm friends with in the local scene, but I rarely put a cassette on I have a cassette deck, but I just listen to it on Bandcamp. Buy a cassette from them and listen on Bandcamp or something. I buy cassettes, I buy CDs, I buy vinyl, like whatever. You know, I guess I prefer vinyl, but you know, not everybody has it or whatever.
A friend gave me a Dave Berman spoken word cassette, from Silver Jews, and I guess it was released in 2020, and it's a reading from maybe early 2000s, and it's really great, but it was just released on a label that does cassettes in Los Angeles. Pretty nice. But I listened to it once and then had to figure out how to get the file, because I was afraid it was going to get eaten by my tape.
I have a double cassette deck, and I think one side eats tapes and the other doesn't. So it always makes me nervous to even use the good side.
Yeah.
Well, where can people buy your stuff off Bandcamp though? I have a Birddog page connected to Happy Birthday to Me records.
Oh, okay. But the new songs, the few new songs that the air show started. the new songs I've been writing, I've been putting on SoundCloud / Bill Santen. Those are.
And the Happy Birthday to Me Bandcamp is actually hhbtm.bandcamp.com.
Right.
First letters of all the words. See, and Killer. They actually have the Killer 7-inchers. That I see that on there.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, they have the 7-inch on there.
On which one?
On the Happy Birthday to Me, you can get the Killer 7-inch. I'm just scrolling down, like.
He has Sweet and Bitter Fancy. I think there are some CDs and songs from Willapa Bay.
Yeah, I'm scrolling past with all the other bands and stuff. So
yeah, our page is. I'm not exactly sure how my band's page is affiliated with Happy Birthday to Me Records.
Because you have your own Birdcamp Bill Santen.bandcamp or something, right? Yeah, Becky just put it in the Birddog Bill Santen.bandcamp. Oh yeah, when I click on the Killer 7-inch, it takes you to that exact one, Birddog Bill Santen. So that has Sweet and Bitter Fancy and In the Night Kitchen and the Killer 7-inch on there. Are the three things you can buy on there.
Yeah.
And then on Instagram, you are Birddog Songs, right?
Birddog songs, yeah.
You're supposed to say this at the beginning, so people, I never
Yeah.
learn.
But yeah, if I had to pitch something, I would just mention that compilation again. I'm rediscovering. I've discovered like I think 50 of the bands I'd never heard of before and are good.
Yeah.
They're but it's obviously all good, but it's a nice record.
B.A. Stern is on there. He had an album on Slumberland. He's not on Slumberland anymore, but Kleine Hexa. I think Kleine Hexa, the woman in that band, I think Evan met her. I think he told me he met her at an Elliott Smith tribute show that I organized here in Orange County, and that's how like they got to know each other. She's really good. Mo Dottie is a really good LA band. I don't know a ton of these bands either. I know some of the LA.
The Squires, I really like them.
Mhm.
Timberlake, I like their song. It's given me a lot of places to start. Yeah,
Cool.
but the address for that compilation is in my Instagram bio.
Yeah, All Is Dead
So,
Records too. All Is
yeah.
Dead Records.bandcamp.com. 60
Yeah.
songs, and it's just name your price, but it goes to
You
for
can
the
pay as much as you
organizations.
want.
Pay $1,000. All right.
Nice.
Is anybody? If let's see. Thanks, Bill Squires. Oh, somebody said they're in Squires on this. Squires was a project I had with my best friend.
Oh, cool.
Oh, Tom. Oh, I know. I don't know how to pronounce his last name. Tom, that passed away from cancer. Yeah, Surfer Blood. Okay. Squires had that guy Tom from Surfer Blood. Like bands
Oh,
I'm familiar with, but not well versed in them. But that's who Squires is. If somebody
then
is watching this.
I
If
made
anybody,
some notes about. I remembered something I wanted to add that's unrelated to anything that you're talking about right now. So, sorry. Anyway, I had a conversation. I remember talking to Elliott about performing, and I've been thinking a lot recently about getting out there and performing, and it's something that I used to love to do, then I hated it, and then I usually perform once a year, and it's just a huge mind. I don't know. I haven't really figured it out, but I talked to Elliott about it a lot, and he toured with Lou Barlow, and he was telling me that Lou Barlow was telling him that watching Elliott Smith play, he looked as scared as like he had felt. I guess they were. Lou Barlow was just saying like his first solo shows, maybe not even his first, but they can be an absolute nightmare, mentally playing these songs over and over. And it was funny because Elliott was telling me that Lou Barlow kind of called Elliott out on that because Elliott, I guess he played a lot of shows where he looked like he maybe wasn't having very much fun. And, writing songs like he wrote and like Lou Barlow writes, and like I try to write, putting yourself out there and performing them is just, I think it's a whole different thing you have to learn how to do,
Yeah, that's awesome.
Anyway.
I can't imagine.
thanks for sharing that. I perform,
Yeah.
but I play drums and I don't sing and I don't write the lyrics or anything. So it's a whole different thing to be putting yourself out there like that. And
Yeah, I think Elliott got a lot better at it. Just he had such a great booking agent and just did it so much for like month after month after month, playing those songs.
Yeah.
And we're thankful for people like you and him and Lou, and for doing that, because it's has made a big difference in our lives. So So thank you for,
Thank
putting
you.
yourself out there.
Yeah, it's
Thanks.
So yeah, I don't know if you have any more questions, Jeff. You
I don't
can
think
wrap
so.
it up,
This was
or
awesome.
unless anybody else has a question or would like to
If anybody wants to
say something
ask a
or ask
question
a
out
question.
loud, it's okay. Thanks for being here and watching. Thanks for adding to the chat, buddy.
Yes.
Thanks to Bill. We were all messaging about us being nervous.
Yeah.
right.
I feel like if you tell the guest that you're nervous, it makes them a little more at ease. Like,
It
oh,
helps.
even the person like interviewing is nervous. I don't know.
That
None of us are pros at this. Like, you know, it's
and also like the format is weird because having this kind of conversation is it's just not natural. You know?
No. We
But-
like that. We like that. You know, it comes from you. You know, we don't edit anything. We don't do anything to change or twist things up. We like that it's, you know, it's coming from you directly, and you know, it's saved that way.
Harley
You know.
makes me do all this like fancy stuff to make him look 10 years younger though when we post it up.
Yes, he does the digital
nice.
manipulating.
Why he looks
Jeff
like
has to work on his tones.
my lighting. I think it's because it's daytime
lighting.
and I got that light behind me, or my cameras. I don't know. I have a bad camera.
Thanks you guys for doing this early.
We appreciate it.
Yeah. Oh no, thank you for coming on. We
'Cause-
appreciate that you came on, and it was an awesome conversation. I hope you enjoyed yourself, and
Very much.
along with everybody else. And thanks for everybody who chimed in. Thank you to Becky for putting the links. Thanks to Dave, to everybody who was involved. We appreciate it, and you know, hopefully we'll do another one of these again.
Yeah.
You
Thank you both.
And hopefully we'll see you on the road too, Bill.
Yeah, hopefully I'll see you.
Come on
in,
out here and tour.
So
Yeah.
where are you living? Are you in Salinas?
I'm kind of near there. I'm
Yeah.
in Marina, so I'm closer to Monterey. I don't know if you're familiar where Monterey is. Being from California, it's on the coast. It's about. Are you familiar where Big Sur is?
Yes.
So it's about maybe 15-20 minutes or so from north of Big Sur area, kind of. So
Right. And
yeah,
Jeff,
so
you're
on the
in
coast.
Los Angeles?
I'm in Orange County,
Ah.
like 40 minutes south of LA.
Looks really sunny there today.
Yeah. Yes, it
Yeah,
is.
it's been beautiful lately.
It's been hot. It's been hot lately. It's been pretty cloudy in the mornings, but well, Charlie's weather is totally. We're both in California, but our weathers can be really, really, really different. So yeah, it's been like really hot here, but I live like 5 miles from the beach, so it's semi-hot, not like in the valley and stuff. So
Wow.
I'm very comfortable right now.
all right.
Awesome.
Nice.
Thank you again, Bill, for coming.
Thanks, Bill.
And being
Sure.
on the show.
Thanks,
I'll be in
everybody.
touch
Very
with you guys.
thankful.
Thank you.
It's
All right.
nice meeting you too.
Yeah.
You too.
Yes.
Thanks.
Bye. Bye, Ricky.
Bye.
Take
Bye.
care.
Great to see you, everyone.
I'm
Nice
gonna
to see
hit
you too.
end.